a matter of putting them in your work of art, in your creative works, the message will go round. And sometimes, when people also want to promote bad acts, promote harmful substances, they hide under that guise to also promote it, and it will reach all of us. Because when our children takes up those bad habits, it will not only make them poor, because there are people that would rather spend the last money in their pockets to buy cigarettes rather than sending their children to school, or rather than even eating food to their bellies. That is how addictive and powerful those substances are. And because tobacco is the leading cause of deaths nationally, globally, while the people that are using it are dying, the tobacco industry are looking for replenished users so that they can get small children who will also pick it up to replenish those who are dying, who are the users. And that is why we are here today, to actually speak to you who are powerful stakeholders in the media industry, in the entertainment industry, to please look at the law that says that tobacco should not be advertised, promoted, or sponsored in any way. And that if peradventure by work of art, you must put smoking sense in your movies, it is important that there should be a rider right on that movie that says that tobacco causes cancer, tobacco kills people, and things like that, such that an innocent child watching, or even an adult watching elsewhere, would see that while this is happening in that scene, it is also sending message that if you take it up, it's at your own risk. Because we know there are some scenes that for the work to really come out, you have to put the smoking sense. But if it is not necessary, then we can do away with it. It is for the safety of our society. It is for the safety of our children. It is for the protection of our future. And that is why we are here. We come here representing all the stakeholders in the tobacco control. We have membership of about 43 different organizations spread across Nigeria, and we are working with the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, that is a global force on tobacco control, and several other powerful stakeholders in the tobacco control sphere globally. And that is why we have to come to bring this message to you and seek your cooperation on how best we can go about this, such that we will not inadvertently, without knowing, spread those arms to the children and to the innocent younger generation. That is why we are here. But before we take the final seat, I would like to invite my colleague to also add one or two things to some of the things that I've said. He's a lawyer and is one of our people. He's coordinating the West African hub for Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. His name is Michael Olaniyo. Please come and.
Thank you. Allah mu tafawa da girma da imo yana yanzu. Thank you. Permit me, I want to elaborate in particular so it gets in further. Yan wa salamu alaikum. Kamar yadda ya magana, sun zo ne, wato hukuma ce ta kula da yadda ake shan taba da shisha da makamantansu ta ƙasa, wace doka ta ƙasa ta kafa ta. Ya yi mana cikin bayaninsa cewa suna son su haɗa kai da kamar Kannywood ne, saboda yanayi na a cikin saƙon da muke tura mutane, mu samu saƙonnin da za su ringa dakushe amfani yin shan taba. Yace yanzu su masu samar da taba su mai da hankalinsu ne a kan ƙananan yara, saboda haka su ne target ɗinsu. Manya suna daina sha, yanzu ƙananan yara ne suke sha. Ibada misali, ice kuma manyan da suke sha tsiraru suna koyawa yaran suna kwaikwayo daga wannan manyan. A cikin bayan su nuna cewa shan taba shi ne ɗabi'a ta farko wacce za a iya kare ta da tafi kowane ɗabi'a kashe mutane a duniya. A cikin statistics na duniya gaba ɗaya mutum kusan miliyan 7 suna mutuwa duk shekara a sakamakon shan taba, musamman alaƙa da kansa da sun cututtuka da suka shafi huhu. A lokacin wannan covid-19 din mun gani da masu shan taba suka fi kowa saurin tafiya lahira akan marasa shan taba. To sun yi magana inda abin da ya kawo su suna da kamar organizations irin su Kannywood din kusan guda 40 da wani abu suka haɗa gwiwa da su suka yi bayani. Ina jin wani shi takaitaccen irin bayanan da amma za mu ci nan gaba muna da tambaya ya nemi cewa kamar a cikin irin fina-finanmu za ka sa misali shan taba kaza shan taba illa ce kamar da ake rubuta tobacco smoking is dangerous to health misali. To abin da tambaya nan gaba za mu sa wannan ne kyauta ko kuma akwai dan masarufi ne a ciki, amma sai mai magana na gaba ya hattama mu da Allah sai mu dan tanadi ma in tambayoyin mu da zamu yi in sun gama da yake ba wani dadewa zamu ba, duk wani mai tambaya sai ya dan rubuta. I will invite the West African coordinator to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for meeting with us. My name is Michael Olaniyo, and I'm the technical resource person for the campaign for tobacco-free kids here in West Africa. First of all, let me say, since I came in, I've been looking at this hall. This is a very beautiful facility. I really appreciate the leadership of this, of Kannywood, for agreeing to meet with us at this time. I don't want to repeat what my colleague has said, but I'll just add a few things to what he said already. The first is that most times when people look at the issue of smoking, they assume that it is a personal and individual thing. You know, it's just me. But the truth of the matter is that it affects both the smoker and the people around the smoker. There are those that we call the second-hand smokers. Those people are not smoking themselves, but they are inhaling the fumes from those that are smoking. And the result is the same thing. The result, in fact, the people that smoke can decide to smoke 2 sticks, 3 sticks, and then they push it out. But the person who is inhaling everything is even getting worse results. And these things can cause different kinds of diseases like cancer, like lung disease, heart disease, every kind of cancer. And it has also been found to be one of the things that leads to complications in tuberculosis and diabetes. And particularly for men, a lot of people, there was a study carried out in the UCH in Ibadan, University College Hospital, that it also leads to erectile problems. You know, so all these things come together to make tobacco the leading cause of death globally. It is the number, because out of about 12 things that cause death all over the world, 10 of them have tuberculosis tobacco as a root cause. The only ones that don't have tobacco as a root cause are issues of HIV and one other one like that. Every other one has tobacco as a cause in all those diseases. And in Nigeria alone, over 16,000 people die every year from diseases that are related to tobacco use. As a matter of fact, more than half of people that use tobacco is estimated that more than half of them will die eventually from diseases that are caused by tobacco use. So why we are here today, in addition to all that my colleague has said, is also to create awareness, to let you know that as much as the industry, as the tobacco industry may want us to believe that there is no problem with tobacco and all that, the truth is they know, and they have known for several years, that it kills. And that is why they target young people. So that while they are still strong, they pick up that habit. While they are still at that infant age, they pick up the habit to replace the people that are, you know, dropping dead from using tobacco. And I always say something, that in Nigeria, we are still lucky. We are lucky in the sense that the rate of use is not yet as high as in the Western world, in America, in Germany, and so on. In those places, they are recording deaths in millions because of, and I always say that in Nigeria, we don't have good health system. Our health system is not even good yet. Them that have good health system, they are suffering from it. If it now comes to us here, and we now have the same kind of problem that they are having, we will not be able to manage it. So that we don't get to that point where we will not be able to manage it. That is why we are carrying out this campaign to control tobacco now. And we have looked around and we saw that one of the best ways to achieve this is to engage the entertainment industry, to engage the media space. You are the people that we watch, that we see. There is nobody that does not at least see 2 or 3 movies in a month, at least. No matter how serious you may want to be and say, I'm busy, you will see, if you don't see a full movie, you will see a skit, you will see an advert, you will see something that is the product of your people's creative contribution to the society. And so we said, if we can come to Kannywood as a major stakeholder, and Kannywood is able to adopt a smoke-free movie policy that says, okay, you know what, in our own films, no smoking. And if peradventure you need to put smoking, maybe as a reason of artistic expression, or as a reason of is justified in the script, you know, there are sometimes that you just need to put it there to make the script complete. The law says that there should be a rider before, after, and during, saying that tobacco use causes cancer. Tobacco use can kill. So that as we are seeing the movie, we also learn the lesson that tobacco can, and this thing is not new. It's not new, because if you follow what is happening in India, in the Indian movie space, in Bollywood, you will see that whenever there is a tobacco use or there is inadvertent use of cigarettes or anything in Bollywood, at the beginning of the movie, they will state it there. They will say, 1, we did not collect money for the use of tobacco in this film, and 2, if you use tobacco, it will cause this, this, and that. On that scene, they will put it there. At the end of the movie, again, they will put that way. Everybody that is watching that movie, they are aware that tobacco can cause. So what exactly are we asking from you? Number 1, we want your buy-in. We want you to accept this, because no matter how much government says we have passed law, they want to enforce. If the stakeholders don't accept it, it's just a waste of time. So we need the stakeholders to accept and say, okay, now we see why this is important, because we know that some people, you know, use tobacco in movies ignorantly. They don't know that these are the things that it causes. So if you can accept it and say this is our policy in Kannywood, that will be a huge win for us in Nigeria. The second thing that we're asking for is messaging. There is a way you communicate that people will buy into what you are saying. There's a way you, without necessarily saying stop smoking, there's a way you will put it in your movies. You are the experts, you are the practitioners. You know how to cause behavioral change in the society in such a subtle way that we accept it. And we're asking that you begin to impute it also in your messaging, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria can be better for it. And the third thing that we're asking for, which is also what we have been speaking with the regulators, is that peradventure there is a scene that contains smoking or tobacco use, let it be rated adult movie. The rating should be high, so that children don't watch that kind of movie and jump on the habit. These are the few things that I just want to add. Thank you very much for accepting to meet with us. Thank you, and God bless you.
Let's give another round of applause for Mr. Mata. Out of what he has just spoken, I think it's an addition to what the coordinator has briefed us already. But what I understand, abin da na fahimta a cikin abin da ya ƙara shine ma'ana ba wai kawai duk fin ɗin da yake mun zo za mu yi shi kuma akwai sin ina da musa akwai sin na shan taba a cikin fim ɗin, to ya kamata wajibi ne saboda yaro kai igani iga wani abin yi ne a rubuta cewa shan taba haɗari ne ga rayuwa. Ya ƙara bayani akan cewa a nan Najeriya a duk shekara ana samun mutum kamar 16,000 bai kawo yawan turai da suke mutuwa da cututtukan da suke da alaƙa da shan taba. Ya ƙara mana cewa sama da mafi yawan masu shan taba kusan gaba ɗaya in suka zo mutuwa za a ga cewa ciwon da yake kasance yana da alaƙa da shan taba. Wannan bayanin cewa masu shan taba ba kawai suna illatar da kansu ba ne, in suna fitarwa shi wanda yake shaƙa ya fi mai sha illata. daga tabar da suke sha. To duk mun fahimci wannan. Ina so in gaya gida cewa wannan abin da muke yi ina nan live a Facebook da Instagram. Ana nuna mu live wannan program da muke, wannan bai zo ma zai iya shiga Kannywood TV Entertainment Live, zai iya ganin wannan program ɗin da muke a yanzu. Na ɗaya kenan. Na biyu, yanzu ina ganin ya kamata mu da Allah wanda ban gabatar ba su mana afwa, ba sai na sake dawa na gabatar ba, wanda suka zo mu ne musu barka da zuwa. So abin da yanzu ina ganin za mu abu tambayoyi da za mu tambaye su abin da muka fahimta da kuma abin da ya kawo su. Ni zan fara da nawa a matsayinsu na hukuma ce wacce gwamnati ta kafa, kuma ake so su samar da campaign, ake so su samar da wayarwa, amma ga doka ta samu ta kafa ta, dokar ƙasa ta kafa ta. I think there is an act establishing your alliance, right? So hukuma ce, dokar ƙasa ta kafa ta. A cikin dokar ƙasa ta kafa ta dole akwai ƙa'idojinta bayan fawa da aka bata wannan abun, kuma a yi haƙuri saboda yadda ake ciki, kuma dole akwai wasu budget da aka ware musu na kula na yan advocacy da irin wannan abubuwan kamar da su zo Kannywood. To tambaya ta ita ce, I think can we start asking, putting some questions out of what we have just heard from you? What we want to, oh, yes, sir. Okay, you want to say something?
Thank you, everybody. I have to thank Alaji first. We've been bombarding you with text messages, calls, and everything. I must say we appreciate you. And as my colleagues have rightly said, and the question you ask, we present this to you, both the act, the regulation that is guiding whatever we are doing, and any person that maybe have interest to check our work in the internet. If you go to www.ntcang.com, www.ntcang.com, you will see our works, things we are doing, what we are doing. So on behalf of the Alliance, sir, we present this to you. This is the acts, and every other things that are contained inside there. Sorry about that. Allah wants to. On behalf of the Board of American Friends, we present the acts and other materials to you, sir, so that you go through it, and from there you can make it available to your
Thank you so much for presentation of the act and the rules and everything regarding the alliance. But we would like to put some questions here. One of the questions that I will ask them, I will ask our colleagues to also ask questions in this regard. The first question is, as you know, we are in the post-COVID era, right? The COVID-19, the 4 months of lockdown, the halting of a lot of locations, the closure of our cinemas and viewing centers, the closure of our musical studios, the closure of our post-production studios, the halting of our DVD and VCD sellers on the streets. Put together, we experience a colossal loss in our revenue. As such now, we are craving the indulgence of the government to come to our aid so that we can be back to pre-COVID era and to continue our business. We welcome you as an alliance established by government to also, as we are ready to go into partnership to support your cause, we would also like you to support our present cause, if you don't mind. What we are adding here is we are craving, our economy has been devastated by the COVID-19. So I believe in this type of collaboration, adverts, scroll messages, and so on. I want to know if our producers, the stakeholders here, can benefit something from your alliance by doing so. And we already, for instance, there are some of our good heads, they even produce some serial dramas that can give good advocacy on tobacco control and many other things. Is there any chance for us to collaborate in that direction? Or you are on just humanitarian service you are asking for? I would like to have this question before I give it to my colleagues. Nothing,
Thank you very much, Alaji. I will quickly react to the questions. First is about the COVID time that we have. Okay. One is the COVID period that we have. And we are hopeful to Almighty God that this would be the beginning of the end of COVID. But we know that it has caused a whole lot of economic hardship on everybody. And that your industry has bear the brunt so much, like every other industry. Luckily for us, Alaji, we also have a number of advocacy visits lined up to critical government stakeholders, like the Nigeria Film and Video Censors Board, the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, the National Broadcasting Commission, and so on and so forth. So one of the things we are going to take away from this meeting is to take this message back to them to say that they don't just air the commission over there in Abuja. They must also see to the welfare of the industry, most especially post-COVID, because the welfare of the industry also results to the welfare of the populace. We are the people. We are the people that makes up the populace. And so one of the very first things we are going to take away from this meeting is to draw up all you have said as regards how the COVID has affected the production, the marketing, and even the presentation of movies to the populace. So we'll take that to the Nigeria Film and Video Censors Board and the NBC and the BON and some critical stakeholders of the Federal Ministry of Information, that is the ministry overall supervising the industry. So we'll take that away, and by God's grace next week we will also be in Lagos. We intend to see the National Film and Video Censors Board and some other stakeholders, and the other week will be in Abuja to also do this. So it's going to be a major takeaway from this meeting to present to them what the plight of the people are, such that we don't just think about school children alone, we don't think about teachers of private schools alone, we should also think about the entertainment industry, which is very critical. People can send their children to school to go and learn. And when you are in classroom, you know we want to learn. But people learn from you every day. In the morning, in the evening, when they are entertaining themselves, they are learning from you. And that is how critical this industry is. And I know the government will not also take it with levity. That is the second one. The first one. For the second one, which is the support, we look forward to supporting the sector in every way that we can have the capacity. In terms of technical support as regards what are the harms of tobacco and other dangerous substances, we will do that. We are looking forward, Alaji, to convening a bigger meeting where we can bring together all the various stakeholders in the industry, both in Kannywood, in Nollywood, and in the Federal Ministry of Information, as well as the Federal Ministry of Health, to a hall like this, most likely in Abuja or Lagos, and we can sit down and think this through. But we felt that the first thing to do is to come and meet you in your own home and present the case to you. Then very soon we'll also have to invite you over such that we can have a meeting like this and present the case, and then we can all, with the government stakeholders, think this through and also place before us the various ways we can collaborate and give support to each other so that our country can be better for it. So before the end of the year, by the grace of God, we intend to convene that meeting, and we'll ensure that there are very, very significant representation from the entire Kannywood industry, and most especially the people here seated. I will personally see to that. And how the stakeholders of this industry can benefit from the alliance. Well, I will not stand here and say that we have money to give. Not at the moment, no. But this is actually an emerging issue. And what we pledge and commit to is that going forward, every iota of promotion that we will want to do, we'll consider Kannywood first in promoting any message. So once we need to act out anything, for an example, we have to get across to you to give us actors and actresses who can help us probably think through our ideas and also sell it in the media. We'll commit to that. And we'll also commit going forward. Thank you very much, sir. And we'll also commit going forward that for as much opportunity we can see that we can bring home to Kannywood in place of workshops, in place of meetings like this, and in place of technical support, like giving out materials and several other things, we also commit to that as much as the opportunities will present itself, we would do that. But we'll be going here to, when we meet with critical government stakeholders, we'll make sure that the message that came out strongly here as regards COVID and several other challenges that faces the industry, will definitely pass it across to the government, such that we can continue to talk about the influence that your industry has on the general populace. An agenda can only be sold as much as it can be sold in the entertainment industry. Thank you very much. That is what I would like to say.
Thank you, sir, for the elaborated response to our questions. Actually, kamar da ya faɗa, mun nemi cewa wannan ziyara da aka kawo mana da kuma ƙudurinsu da suke da shi da kuma hanyar da suke so mu taimaka musu wajen daƙile yaɗa harkar shan taba da shisha da sauransu. A matsayinsu na wannan na tambaye su, mu kuma me za mu amfana da shi idan muka yi musu haka, kasancewar a yanzu COVID ta mana raga-raga ta da gargaza tattalin arzikinmu, ba mu da komai. Yake cewa wannan advocacy din shine kamar da suka fara yi na farko, za su haɗu da Ministry of Information da kuma Ministry Hukumar Lafiya a ƙasa a yi forum su gayyace mu a tattauna a raising fund a san ta inda za a ringa taimaka wannan harkoki. Yace yanzu suna koma za su Lagos da Abuja suna da stakeholders, duk abin da za a yi na promotion na taimako ko na talla sun alkawari za su fara kawo Kannywood first akan abin da aka yi musu. Bata amma ina tambaya a matsayinsu na hukuma da gwamnati ta amince da ita, na san under United Nations ko kuma under World Health Organization ne akwai International Tobacco Control Association, if I'm not mistaken. Me alaƙar su? Ta ya za a yi tunda wasu ayyukan su a nan national ya nasu ne, ya za a yi su irin ayyukan International Tobacco Organization shi ma shigo mana mu ringa amfani da su? Ta ya za a yi su zama kamar bridge, zama tsaka-tsaki tsakaninmu ko kuma su sada mu da shi? So zan yi wannan tambayar ta international one din. ba fa nan ƙasa ba, international. Ya faɗe shi ko? Okay, ko ya faɗa dai bari ne reiterating abu bari kuma jijjada abin da yes, what we are talking sir is we know as an alliance here in Nigeria you must have a connect with the International Tobacco Control Organization, especially those organizations linked to United Nations and World Health Organizations. And I know they are very strong. They are struggling seriously, especially now that ordinary cigarettes is diminishing in waste. Only electronic cigarettes is proliferating in the waste. So what we are saying is, in case of any opportunity, you must have said it, but we want to be assured of your commitment in that direction. In case of any opportunity coming from those sources, please, we would like Kannywood, as you said, to be carried along, either directly or through you guys. This is what I'm to say. Without taking much ado, I think I would like to open the floor for the gentlemen in the house to bring in their questions. Zan iya tambayoyinmu da kowane yare. Kafin ci gaba da Allah muna kuma yi wa wanda suka shigo sanda zuwa, akwai Faraga ban mention ɗinsa ba, ga sakatare na yaɗa labarai na Moppan shi ma ya shigo, Abdul Ahmad mai kwashewa. You are welcome. Mr. Bawa Ahmad, board member na Arawa Association, you are welcome, all of you. Thank you. In akwai tambaya ko ƙarin bayani na Malam Nasiru.
Good afternoon. Mine is actually a comment rather than a question. I can say Kannywood is my constituency. And I know there are some things, apart from just the financial support, there are other supports that we also need. Which is, for example now, the issue of money is really, really good. At the same time, we should value education. Value education in the sense that, okay, when we get the money, how do we like promote what we are supposed to promote? And on the issue of paying a courtesy call to NBC, National Film and Video Censors Board, there's a tip I will give you, because they will take themselves as regulatory agencies, that giving support is just like voluntary, it's not mandatory. So you should really prepare when going to them. They shouldn't hide behind this seat of regulatory agency and deny any support to the industry. Importantly, what I want you to consider is having a policy. Like in the US, they have on-screen smoking policy. That's what you should work on. These people can say they will do something, and by the time you leave, they forget. So as you say you are coordinating or collaborating with the stakeholders, I think it's better you look into it, draft a policy, go to them for enactment. Like saying the NBC, like a movie where the smoking should be rated as 18. It's not the filmmaker that will do the rating, it's the National Film and Video Censors Board. So it should be forwarded to them. So without such policies, if you go to them, I assure you, they will say it. There have been so many stuff like that. But once the policy is in place, you at the organization will make sure that it works. That is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Man Nasiru. It's a very good observation, and I hope the message is sent and cleared. Man Nasiru ya ƙara bayani akan cewa su wannan hukuma ya kamata su kula ba kawai wai muna neman taimako bane na kuɗi. Akwai taimako na training da wayarwa da faɗakarwa da muke bukata a wannan masana'anta. Da yake nan na biyu kuma akwai wayarwa akan in ma an ce wani abu ya taso da za a bada kuɗin ta za a amfani da kuɗin, which is very important. Sannan kuma ya jawo hankalinsa akan cewa za su je wajen minista, census board, NFC da waye, ce kasu manta su regulatory agencies ne, za su nuna musu cewa ai ba da taimako aikinsu ne ko kuma ba dole ba ne abu ne an ga damar yi a yi su, da kuma dai sauran ƙarin bayani da ya ɗora a wanda yake suna da mahimmanci. We hope the comment by Nasir B. Muhammad is well articulated and is well understood by the House. Akwai tambaya ko da Hausa ko da Turanci din da yalla bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Well done for the wonderful presentation. Mine is a question and then a suggestion. So I want to know if there's any criteria, at least for membership of this association, so that we look at the criteria and see if we have any suitable person from Moppan should be incorporated, so that things will, we have a representative within your association. We have medical people around, like the chairman himself. We have people who studied postgraduate diploma in public health education and promotion within Moppan and what have you. So if there is any way, so we want to have a representative in your association. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The person who had just spoken, apart from being a filmmaker, he is director of one of our Institute of Hygiene here in Kano. So it's a medical person as well. Abin da yake ita yalla bai tambaya shine ya kamata idan suna a cikin su hukuma ce, idan da akwai wani badi ya kamata da suke tsare-tsare a ce an samu wakilcin ƙungiyar Moppan a cikin wannan badi inda suke tsare-tsare na tambaya, tunda su ba ƙungiya ba ce, hukuma ce. What he was saying is, in case you have anything, if you have a sort of committee affiliation committee or something, I assume Moppan is ready to join. Or if you set up a sort of committee to do any of the endeavors you put forward, I think you should consider selecting one or more from Moppan to be part of the organization, to be part of your programs. As we have similar case now with the National Council of Art and Culture, we have one with Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board. We have one currently going on with the Nigerian Film Corporation. And what we are saying is, you as a body, you are sending me, you have the right to collaborate with anybody you want. There is an ongoing collaboration now between stakeholders industry and national military army headquarters, defense headquarters, national defense headquarters going on now. We have about 113 scripts to be evaluated for selection to produce films just to change the image of national defense headquarters. I think if you can come up, you can suspend to come up with something similar, it will be great for the industry. Akwai tambayar ko ƙarin bayani daga gare mu?
Assalamu alaikum. Mai magana Tijjani Abdullahi Asase, organizing secretary na kungiyar jarumai. Tambayar da zan yi ita ce, kamar Indian film, duk film ɗin da zai fita, idan aka sha sigari a cikin film ɗin, a gurin ana nuna gargaɗi ne zai illatar da kai. Sannan duk fim ɗin da za a fara yi, inda za a fara fim ɗin sai an saka wannan tallan na smoking is dangerous kaza har ma a ɗanyi wani short drama za gani kafin a fara fim ɗin. To a tunanina kamar irin wannan tsarin ne su wayannan ƙungiya suke so a ɗauka, kuma kowane fim idan mutum zai yi amfani da irin wannan abun akwai wani tagomashi da zai samu sai ya yi wannan abun sannan zai yarin ɗin wannan mutanen su ga wannan abin da ya yi sannan a bashi wannan abin ko kuma a'a za a ɗauki nauyin shi ne ya yi abin idan ya kawo aka ga abin ya yi sannan a bashi to wannan shine nake so in dan tafi da abin a zuciyata don in sa rai nima inda zan dan fuskanta. Assalamu alaikum.
I think lokacin da ake dan yi bayanin ka dan gadi actually abin da ka faɗa exactly shine abin da suka zo yi a cikin bayanin Samaka ya faɗi cewa da inda fin din da ake ana smoking ya kamata a wannan fidin wajibi ne sai a rubuta cewa wannan shan taba hadari ne ga rayuwa. Duk inda aka nuna inda ana shan taba a fim din sai a rubuta wannan a cikin fim din. Ni kuma ne musu tambaya idan za mu yi wannan aikin mu rubuta, na san mu kanmu is our social responsibility mu waye da kan mutane, amma yin wannan shi mutumin da yi wannan abun shi kuma wani ɗan tagomashi zai samu daga wajensu. Shine suka ce tunda kaga na ga kamar hukumar ma 2019 aka kafa ta, so sabuwar hukuma ce, na ga act in 2019 ne na makaranta a cikin wasiƙarsu sabuwa ce, so they are working on that. Suna kallon hanyoyin da za su bi su haɗa gwiwa da hukumomin cikin fim kuma su masu san abin da za su ringa yi, amma abin da ka faɗa exactly haka suka ce suke so a ringa yi inda an sha taba a fim. You just asked a question on what we have already elaborated on regarding an advert is calling advert saying smoking is dangerous to health, especially in movies where there are smoking actions in them.
Assalamu alaikum. Mai magana Abdullahi Sani Abdullahi, popularly known as Baba Karami. I just want to ask a question. I know some years back, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 years back, there was an agency like this. I don't know whether it's still working because one of my friends was arrested smoking on the street. So it took us it kind of difficulties to bail him out. I don't know whether it's still working, that agency, or not, because they make arrest. That's what I want to ask.
Okay, there's one little thing that I want to. So, before I forget, he said for those that want to join the alliance, the registration portal is on www.ntcang.org. ntcang.org. There's a portal there that you can register. I think it's for free. So joining us is free because what we are doing really is work for humanity. And having said that, I also want to say that we work closely with the government, but we are not being funded by the government. As a matter of fact, the funding that we are enjoying presently is from our own organization, where the board puts money together. There are businessmen, there are researchers, consultants who from time to time put money together to support global causes. In Nigeria, we are supporting, my organization is supporting tobacco control and trans fats, that is all this chemical fat and oil. Chemical fat and oil that are in food, those are the two projects that we are supporting here in Nigeria. So we are a non-governmental organization, but because of the quality of work that we and our partners do, the government recognizes us as an authority on the subject. And that's why it is easy for us to meet with government and say, this is what the people are saying. It's easy for us to say, okay, government, come and meet the stakeholders and agree on what to do. And I take your point on the policy. It is very, very, very important, sir. Like you did mention, in the US, they have what's called the master agreement. It's a policy on smoking on screen. It is something that we are looking at doing, but we don't want a situation where, you know, the way government usually do things is they will write it and give it to you and say, go and run with it. We are saying that is not the best way to go about it. Let the industry, let the stakeholders and the government come together and agree on what can work, on what is feasible. Not that government will just sit somewhere and say, take policy, go and use it. So that is why we're not pushing that one forward first. And at that meeting that my colleague mentioned, the larger one of the things that will be hoping to come out of that is that policy document where stakeholders, the practitioners can come and say, based on what we now know, this and this and this are the things that we think will work. And that policy becomes binding on everybody. On the issue of short drama and PSAs, public service announcements, it's a beautiful one. I feel that if you can do that, we don't have so much resources. Like my colleague said, we don't have so much. Most of the things that, if not for our flight that was delayed, in fact, we came into Kano yesterday and had some meetings yesterday, and we're supposed to go back today because we don't have so much resources to, you know, stay in hotel and be enjoying. So we are managing a lot of resources, but that is not saying that when we see good cause that we cannot get funding. That's not saying so. So definitely, we will need to take this message back to even our own constituency, our board, and justify it to them and say, see, the best way to get this done is by involving the stakeholders in these PSAs and so on. And then on linkage to international opportunities, definitely we are going to do that. When the regulation was passed, because of the process, you know the way laws are being made in our country, the process of passing the regulation, we identified a few people that we felt, yes, they contributed so much to the process. And we invited them to an international conference that was being funded by somebody else entirely, to come and share their experience and what other people globally can learn. And I can say this for a fact, that so far, Nigeria, when it comes to our policy making and the way we have been implementing these things, we are leading the way. So definitely the whole world wants to hear from us. They want to see us. They want to see how we are doing it. And I believe that if not for this corona, you know, this lockdown that is happening everywhere, definitely we would have been able to promise something this year. But I can assure you that as soon as we get any green light on something that we know will be useful for Kannywood, Kannywood will be the first to hear about it. And yeah, I think I'll just stop here so that we can take more questions. Sorry, I forgot to respond to your question, sir, about the agency that is arresting people. Yes, that agency, that is no longer an agency. It is now a unit within the Ministry of Health. They still exist. They still have the power of arrest and all those things. But our own idea of this thing is, don't just go ahead and start arresting people anyhow. You need to first of all sensitize them. Let them even know. Or else you just arrest somebody who did not know you even committed an offense. So that agency, that authority is still there. But we are saying that give us a little bit of time as NGOs to go to all the critical stakeholders. Let's sensitize the people. Let them be aware. Now, after we have created the awareness, anybody that now decides to violate the law, that means he knows and he did it deliberately. So yes, I believe I've answered your question, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I think, okay, I hope we are not repeating. Let's take one more. Hajia, let's take the last.
My question is that since I was a child, I've been hearing of the disadvantages of smoking a cigarette. Please, sir, is there any advantage of smoking a cigarette? Yeah, because every disadvantage has advantage. Every advantage has disadvantage. So,
from the course of the forum, but let's have a short answer. I know you two are out of time. Let's have just a short.
Thank you very much for that question. It's a question I've had to answer over and over, probably 100 times or over in the course of our work. Now, I will tell you the questions without saying yes or no, but I will allow you to pick up the facts for yourself. When you light up a stick of cigarette, you send some chemicals into your body system that excites some part of you at the moment, but leaves traces of harm in your system. So it is possible. I know people that cannot visit toilets without a stick of cigarettes. To them, their body has become accustomed to taking it, and so their entire system had become dependent on it. Now, it would be good that here is a lantern for me to stand on. But the beauty of my humanity is to be able to stand without this lantern. If I want to use it, I can rest on it. But my life should not be dependent on this lantern. The day my life is dependent on this lantern, it has taken away my humanity from me. That exactly is what tobacco does. So tobacco in a system tends to excite the cells for a time, and then it wears out of your body, but it leaves harm in the body, and that is why they have to go back going to it. I have somebody who was down with a cancer, and doctors advised him, everybody advised him to stop smoking. He will still lock himself up and smoke because his body system cannot, and people that wants to quit cannot easily quit. The tobacco actually drains money from the pocket. I know people who would rather buy than send their children to school. I know people who would rather starve, not eat, but buy it. That's one. Two, it actually causes all sort of sickness in the body. Why it may excite at a moment, but it causes some enduring sickness in the body. You visit the doctors more, you buy drugs more, and eventually it kills most of the users. And so there is no benefit that I know apart from the initial excitement that comes from smoking, just like other hard drug. And tobacco is the gateway to every hard drugs that you can know. Everybody that takes marijuana, and they start from tobacco, then graduate to more hardened drugs. So whatsoever you cannot live without will definitely take away something from us that we cannot replace. Because the goodness of humanity is to be able to make choices when you want to do it without being coerced or without being harassed into doing that. That is just the answer I would like to give to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Da wannan muka zo ƙarshen wannan, a takaice dai Hajiya, babu wani amfani da shan sigari illa samun takaitacciyar gamsuwa in an sha. I was a chain smoker. Kamar yadda ya faɗa, ba na iya shiga ban ɗaki, ba na iya cin abinci, ba na iya shan ruwa sai da sigari. Ba ta da wani amfani illa wannan biyan buƙatar in ya taso maka. In kuma ka saba da wannan abun, wani abu na ake samsa crap, in ya taho ko me za ka yi a duniya ba ka ji daɗi ba. Ba abun da ake aikatawa sai ka samu wannan sigarin ka shata. It's an addiction. Ba ta da kuma medically wannan authoritatively ina faɗa, there is no any medical benefit in smoking cigarette whatsoever. Babu shi. Illa kawai kamar mutum ne ya zama addict, ina shan ganye ko ina shan cocaine ko wani abu. Idan za a yi rehabilitating din shi, haka yake malam, za a ringa bashi ana rage dotsin, a ringa bashi ana rage dotsin har idena. To ta nan wajen kaga an yi amfani da abun an rage wannan. I'm explaining only on rehabilitating process. Sometimes you use the hard drug to rehabilitate the person addicted to that particular drug. Otherwise, there isn't any medical benefit. With this one, I think za mu zo ƙarshen wannan taro namu. I would like to call on shi Secretary ka ba mu closing remarks kuma a yi addu'a da Allah. Bismillah. A yamakon Secretary General Musa Secretary namu. Okay, mun gama da Allah kamar fita za mu yi group picture a nan wajen. Thank you.
We are, yes, closing for today, and we are grateful, even though we benefited a lot from their own coming, and we look forward for all you said. You are going to intervene. Jama'a mune muku godiya da kuka halarci wannan taro, kuma da Allah a yi amfani da abin da muka karu yanzu a zamanmu. Na gode.
Masha Allah. Abu ƙaramin zo karfi mai da addu'a da Allah. Chairman, brother. Na? To Allah gawa ta malam to shi. Ya yi fasa.
صلوا على النبي الكريم صلى الله اللهم صل على محمد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم اني اسالك من خير هذا الامر سبحانك اللهم وبحمده واستغفرك ونتوب اليك.
Allah mai yadda ya nufa Allah shi ya iya haka nan ya nufa